All right, peace and blessings to the tribe. Welcome to Day Trading School. We are about to jump into grade 3. Okay, gonna break this up into a couple different sessions, and we want to go over some common shapes that can help you create trading opportunities for yourself. So this is going to be one of my favorite sessions because one of my favorite shapes is lines, and then one of my other favorite shapes is like rectangles and squares. I love to trade those patterns. So we're going to get into those today. All right. So let's go ahead. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. So let me go ahead and jump over here into this chart that we got. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing started. So over here, what we got, we were on USD JPY. Remember, we talked about this before. So let me go ahead. You know what? Building upon last session, on TradingView, there's a couple indicators. Indicators are like cool functionality that you can add to your chart to give you more information about what's going on. So for example, somebody built the indicator called sessions, and what it does is color coordinates. I can hide and show it. Each session, okay, each market open. So remember we talked about, the Sydney open and the Tokyo open, and then the London open, and then the US open. Each one of those is represented here. So the US open is like this green, and then the Sydney session is like this orange, and then Tokyo is this red, and London session is this blue. And then we start again with the green for the US session. So right now you see we're in the US session right now. And so we're just going through this market right now. It's been up since like 6-7 this morning. It's going kind of like, it's like this overlap that's happening right now too. It's like this overlap of UK London session and the US session. And when it's pure orange, that means it's like mainly just, I'm on the 1 hour time frame. Go out here. Yeah, it's mainly just the US session at this point. Okay, so we can keep our eye on that. I don't know why it's saying it's 12:15. What time zone am I on? Let me see. I think there's a way to change the time zone. Change here. Symbol, status line, and scales. I don't know. We'll get to that soon. We'll get to that. But let's go ahead and jump right into what we're working on today, where we're talking about different lines. Right. So I know I told you guys last session about how to do some of these things, and let's go over that again. Okay. So one of my biggest strategies that I trade is just trend line breaks. And what that means is you have to know how to draw a trend line. If you could draw a trend line, you can make money in the market, because this is like one of the most common patterns to draw. Okay. Common, very, very common patterns to draw. Okay. So what you need to do to be able to draw these lines is you have to have this right here. You have to go over to your tool section. Okay. Go over to your tool section. And what you'll see is at the top left, the second one down, you see it says trend line tools. Okay, and we're going to use this first one right here called trend line. And what we want to do is, like I said, if you can draw a line, whether it's completely horizontal or completely vertical or diagonal, then you can find a trading opportunity. So we're going to talk about diagonal lines first, and then we're going to get into horizontal and vertical lines as well. So for us, the diagonal lines is when you want to try to find, I'm going to zoom in a lot on some of these. You want to try to find a place where it looks like the chart is moving diagonally. And to draw a diagonal line, you need 2 points. You need 2 peaks. Okay, for me, a peak is like, or valley is like, this like shape right here. Okay, that's like a peak. That's like a peak. It's like a peak. It's like a peak. It's like a peak. Okay. Here goes another one. Okay, so if you see those, if you can recognize that pattern, type unlock in the chat. We're going to talk more about this in grade 4 when it comes to letters as well, because for me, these look like kind of like upside down V's, or maybe you want to call them A's without the slash through. But yeah, you really want to be able to recognize these, because this is what the market does all day. It goes up, comes down, and this right here is created. Okay, that point right there is made it. Or it goes down, it comes up, goes down, comes up, goes down, comes up, and you get each one of these. Okay. So I just want to find a bunch of those over here on the market, just to make sure that we really see those over and over again. Okay, just keep on looking. You want to see those over and over. And then what you want to do is you want to try to connect those. So if you got one here and you got one here, you can connect them. Okay, and that's our trend line right there. That says what a trend is looking like. You could also connect these two and say, okay, this is our trend line. Okay, you can connect three. The more that connect, the stronger the trend. So if you got that right there, that means that's a strong trend. Okay, here goes one. Now look, let's see if these connect right here. If I do this, this, and then that, do those connect with a straight line? No, right? We can't. If we do this, that's not a trend line. Okay, if I try to bring my trend line tool, which I have here, if I try to connect those, I can't connect it to that. I only can connect either to this one or to that one. So this is not our trend line, okay? That is not our trend line. So let me go ahead and clear this off real quick. Okay, that is not our trend line. Now, if we go ahead and let me see, I'm gonna show you one of the shapes I really like to use. You see, I keep on drawing that shape with my drawing tool, but there's a circle tool over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 tools down, and you go over here you can use ellipsis. I use the circle a lot. Let me see what the circle looks like. Okay, there goes one right there. So the circle, and then here goes another circle. Right here, okay? So those two right there, and we can see if we can make those two connect by using the trend line. And yeah, they do connect. So boom, that could make a trend line. All right, so now, you know, the strategy would be to try to wait for it to cross above that, which it did do here, and trade it. Now, this one right here, the goal is like, if it does trade this, then what's probably going to happen is it's going to cross it and go up. Okay, that's what's probably going to happen. However, when you only have 2 points, it's not as strong as if you had 3 points or 4 points or 5 points. So we want to try to find an opportunity on these markets where there's 3 touch points of this trend line. Okay, we want to try to find 3 touch points at least. And that's how we know we are in a trending market. And then it's trending, that's fine. You can find opportunities on either side, the buy or the sell side. We'll get to that. But you just want to be able to identify that first. Okay, so let me see if I can help us identify 3 touch points. So here's one right here. Oops. Here's another one right here. Here's another one right there. Okay, so that's 3, because I can see a line going through this. Can you guys see that? Right, you see that? So boom, there we go. Now we got a nice little trend line building right there. Okay, nice little trend line. And then look what happened. It ended up building kind of another one right here. Okay, here's another one. It's kind of still in line with that. So look, sometimes what you do is you just adjust it a little bit, because yes, it could have went beneath it. Somebody could have said that, but what we do is we just wait. If it doesn't go a lot beneath it, meaning if the market doesn't drop down like far, then that means it wasn't a trend line break, because that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for that trend line to break before we jump in. So if it didn't break, what we do is we just adjust this a little bit, right? We just adjust it like that. And now we say, okay, we got a new peak. We put this new circle here, it's there. And then what I love to do is I just extend it. So let me go, I'm gonna do a replay. I'll teach you how to do this later, but that means you can go back and replay a market in time and then watch what would have happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and replay to right here. Okay, and I'm gonna just step through. Okay, so now it's respecting that trend line. So now what I want to see, I'm just going to expand this. I'm just going to make it longer. Okay, and I'm just going to say, I'm just waiting for this to get crossed. Once it crosses, that's the trading opportunity that I'm looking for. Okay, just press and play. This is 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes it moves. Okay, because this is a 15-minute time frame that we talked about in the last section. So right now, look, it's right on that trend line. So it's either going to break down and go down further. Let me draw that. It's either going to keep going down here, or it's going to bounce and go up again. Okay, because that's what the market can do. Come down, hit it again, bounce up, hit it again, bounce up. That's how you know it's a strong trend line. That's why I said just extend it, make it long, and see how many times it touches that trend line. Okay. Okay, does that make sense? That's what we waiting for. So the market is right at this critical point right now. This is the critical point, and we need to wait to see if it's going to come down and go up, or if it's going to break down and continue to go down further. So you can make money on either side. If it ends up showing that it's going to go back up, we put in a buy order, and we say, okay, we're going to buy because this is a bullish market. Bullish means the bulls are in control. Bulls is anybody who's in the market looking to buy. Oops, that's supposed to be a star, and you'll see it. And then if it goes down further, we're going to look to do a sell order. And the sell order means we're in a bearish trend. Okay, so we got the bulls versus the bears, and we're always trying to figure out who's in control. Okay, the bulls or the bears. So if it stays above that trend line, the bulls are in control, and we are bulls at that moment because we just blend with the trend. We're not trying to create a trend. We just trying to blend with the trend. Okay. And if it goes beneath that line, we are in a bearish market, and we want to be bears. We want to blend with that trend. Okay, so I'm giving you a minute just to take any notes, any pictures, anything you may want to do. Okay, so far we got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going to be perfect too. I do want to throw that out there for anybody out there who like, I can't get this trend line right. It's not going to be perfect. Look at this little bit of a gap in between here. Okay, look at this little bit of a gap in between here. It's okay sometime if it's not perfect. In fact, you'll really see that a lot once we get to 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, when we switch to candlesticks, and you'll see, look at that. Now it does touch it. Now it does touch it. Now it does touch it because we have candlesticks which have these long wicks, which we're going to talk about later. But for now, just stick to the line graph and you'll still be able to find these same trading opportunities. Okay, so let's see what happens next. I'm gonna press play again. Okay, it goes a little, oh, it bounced up. Okay, it bounced up. So it created another little touch point for us right here. Another little touch point. Let's see what happens again when we go. Now that time it crossed beneath the line, but let's wait for a little confirmation. You don't have to jump in so quick. Wait to see some momentum, some volume, some real trend behavior. Okay, we'll talk more about those terms later, but that just means you want to see the market really move underneath that trend line. Let's see if it does it the next one. Okay, now that's significant. Now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to jump into this market. Now I'm ready to jump in. That looks like it's really way beneath that trend line. If I was to move this trend line now, it would have to be like this, which means, look, now we don't have those touch points really. Based on this chart, we don't have those touch points. Because look, it's only touching really here. Like this 1 isn't touching, this 2, this 3, that 4. So you don't want to go moving it too much, and now none of your points are touching. If you got to move it a little bit, but still you still have 2 or 3 touch points, that's fine. You can move it, you can move the line a little bit. You got that flexibility, you're in control. But don't go moving it like this, because now none of these are touching. So that's a whole different trend line. Keep the original trend line you had and just draw another one if that's the point. So now we got an opportunity to get in, and the goal will be to try to ride this trend down from here to however far down it goes. Let's see how far it goes. That's boom, it went down more, that's money. It went down a little bit more, kind of going up now. Okay, now it's consolidating. It's not, that means it's not really going up or down. And this area right here is just moving side to side. And that's where we get into rectangles, okay? We'll be talking about these consistently for the next couple sessions. Look at that, now it's just stuck in this little box right here. That's that trap we talked about before. And we just wanna wait, right? But we in a trade at this point, we fine. As long as the market don't go way back up here, we're fine if we're in a sell market. It's okay if it consolidates a little bit, but we waiting for it to actually start to push further down. But right now it's just in a trap. Okay, now, ooh, it's kind of going up. So if you were in this trade right here, you just will be like at break even for a while or negative. Your trade would be break even, negative, little positive, negative, but not a lot. So let's wait to see what it ends up doing. Finally, there we go. It breaks down further. There we go. So look at that. So now, yeah, we end up winning that trade, but it did get scary for a second. Okay, it did get a little bit scary. It went up to this point up here, but it ended up finally going to where we wanted it to. Okay, and I'm gonna show you later on about like where your stop loss would have been in a trade like this. It probably would have been up near this point, because you usually want to go back to the previous peak. So these are peaks. Remember we talked about that. That's a peak. That's a peak. So if you trade in these, what we're gonna call V's later on, if you trade in these later on, uptrend, and you waiting for it to break, boom, you get in here. You want to get out next time it goes above one of your upside down V's. Okay, next time it goes up here, that's where you want to get out. So you get out once it makes it up here. Did it ever make it up here? The price ever go up to this point? No, right? Exactly. So as long as it don't go up here, it could do all of this zigzag all it want. So what? It could do that as much as it want. As long as it don't come up here to this area, then we stay in the trade and we continue to make money while we're in that trade. That's a stop loss. Your stop loss point is your boundaries where you say, if it goes up here, take me out the trade. And this has a specific number too. It's going to be right here. It's going to be like 136.90 or something like that. Uh-oh, one of my trades is activating. I'll show you that in a second. So yeah, that will be our, that's our boundary right here. Okay. It didn't make it up there. It did go down further. So we had some profit potential right there. So that's cool. I love trend line strategies. So fun to trade, not that hard to trade, as long as you can find you a good solid trend line. And it may take time. It may take patience for you to actually wait for that trend line to build up. You want to get a couple points. For example, here's another trend line that's building right now. Okay, so I'll show you. Go and get another circle. Here's a point. Oops. All right, that because you're not really messing with me. Okay, boom. That's a point. That's a point. Okay, and then so if I connect those two, okay, you see that? So now we're gonna wait for this to cross, and then once that crosses, now we start looking for sales. I mean buys, you know, because right now we in a sale, we riding that sale down, we make money there. We figure out where we want to get out the trade at, blah, blah, blah. Let me see if this trade went down further or start going higher. Look at that. That's another close touch point right there. That's another close one. And that's where we are currently. Okay. That's the current market right now. This was pretty much another touch point. I know it didn't hit it perfectly, but that counts because it went up near it and it came down. Okay. And then once again, if we look at our candlesticks, we'll see, look at that. It touched that line right there. That little red candle right here touched it perfectly and then came back down. Up here, it went above it a little bit. Okay. So if you wanted to adjust it, you could adjust it a little bit, but you play it by ear. It's not a perfect science. Once again, it's not perfect, but believe me, it is pretty darn exact. It's really close. Okay. So yeah, this will be our area right here. This is currently where we at. And our goal would be to wait for this trend line to cross. Now, what I do for lines, right? This is where we can get into, let's keep on focusing on lines right now. Remove this. I'm not gonna remove the box. We can keep it there for now. What I like to do with these lines is when I'm in an uptrend, like what we had over here, I like this line to be green. Okay, that lets me know bullish, buy, the market is up. Usually if you look over here on the right side of my screen, when we see green, that means that this market is up for the day. So NU is up for the day. All right, UJ is down for the day. All right. All right, so green means that the market is up, red means that the market is down. So I hit on this right here. I want to make this red as well. My downtrend line, I want to be red. Okay, my uptrend line, I want to be green. Okay, try to keep that in mind. That helps you remember what you're looking for, what market you're currently in. I'm in a bearish market because it's underneath this red line. Okay, I'm in a bullish market because it's above this green line. Okay. Okay, letting that marinate a little bit. Yeah. So another cool thing that that we can do with these lines is that we can draw what I call floor and ceilings. Okay, floor and ceilings. What that consists of is pretty much like a area where it's when we have those touch points, but it's like horizontal. Okay, so for example, each one of these lines, right, these circles that we talked about, those were slanting up. Let's go a little bit more to the left and I'll show you a little bit different scenario. Look at this one. I'm gonna change the color for this one because these are gonna be a little bit different. Okay, so these circles right here that I'm gonna draw, these are a little bit different. These ones are going side to side. They're not slanting up. Okay, and it's not perfect. They're not going to be exactly equal, but as you'll see, these are going side to side, right? So if you can draw a line in between those, that's great. And I'm going to show you why that's great. Okay, I'm going to go back once again, do another replay. Okay, do another replay. All right, cool. So look, this one right here is going side to side, right? Okay, I'm just zooming in on this, zooming in so you can really see this. So look at these right here. Each one of these is going side to side. So I draw those circles right here because it helps me identify something that I like to call a ceiling. Okay, so a trend line is ascending or descending. Okay, draw that right here for you. Trend line is ascending or descending. That means it's going, ascending means going up, Descending means going down. Okay, that's a trend line for you. Now, a horizontal line means that the market is consolidating. Or ranging. It's another word for it, ranging. Okay. And what that means is that the market is doing this right here. It's trying to figure out which direction it's going to go into. A lot of people are exchanging positions right now. There's a lot of big banks and institutional investors who are like, you know what, I'm ready to buy a lot more right now because I know what's about to happen in the market. I think it's about to go up. So they're accumulating their position, right? They're buying and selling off in rapid speeds. A lot of people are confused. A lot of people are getting faked out too. That's what happens too. Somebody think the market's about to go up, it comes down. You think it's about to go up, come down. You think it's about to go up, come down. So a lot of people lose money trying to trade in this market. So I teach people how to draw this horizontal line that connects each one of these. And I like to make the horizontal line go to the top one. Yes, they're not going to be all perfect, but try to go to the top, the most highest one in it. So when you first start, you may be down here. This right here was the highest one. I'll go back and do a replay so we can see it for sure. So your horizontal line might start right here. Okay, let's see when it works its way back up. Boom, it worked its way back up. Now your horizontal line goes up a little bit. Okay, so it keeps hitting those points. And also, we kind of got another horizontal line building too. I'll show you guys that in a second. Boom, another one. It went up a little bit, but we're still in that range. Okay. And as you see, it just keeps on, it keeps going to that area though, right? It keeps going to this zone up here and then dropping down. Same thing over here. It keeps dropping down to this area. So I want to draw actually something around here too. Somewhere in this zone, we also keep on getting these. They're more a little bit tighter here. It's kind of hard to see. It's not a perfect floor, but it keeps doing it over here too. See that? It's somewhere in this zone that this keeps happening, somewhere beneath here. So I got another horizontal line that's going from like here to here. Okay, so let me draw these lines. Let me get a good color actually. This is our floor. All right, I like to call this our floor. For now, I'm gonna just call it white. All right, think of it like, you know, you got some nice white kitchen floors, okay? And then this is the ceiling. All right, we're gonna make the ceiling. What color we want to make the ceiling? Let's make it yellow because we got like a dim yellow light on the ceiling, right? Hanging from the wall. We got like a yellow light at the ceiling. You can make these whatever color you want. I just try to have a little patterns or something that helps me remember what I'm doing. But honestly, they both can be orange. It does not matter. Okay. But this right here lets me know that this is my ceiling because this is the price. For some reason, it won't go above this point, but it gets close to that point over and over and over again. But this is our floor because the price keeps coming down here and going up, coming down in this area, going up, coming down in this area, going up. Okay, so these horizontal lines are very, very, very important. Okay, because they let us know when the market is in a consolidation area. Okay, over here we were in a trending area, right? These were trending when we were doing this over here. So we'll get back to that in a second. But before it started trending, this is what before the trend comes, this is what I'm trying to show you. Before the trend hits, we're in a consolidation zone, okay? So do me a favor and type that in the chat or type this in your notes. Before we trend, there's consolidation. Before the trend, there's consolidation. And that's what I'm showing you right here. We're gonna get back to that trend. I showed you guys the trend because that's easy to recognize. That's easy to recognize. Once you see it, it's hard not to see it. But people don't, they think they see trends in here. And this is where a lot of people lose their money at because they think this market is trending. They're like, oh, look, it's going up. It comes back down. Oh, it's going up. It comes back down. Or it's going down. Watch this. They think, look, it's going down. It's at the bottom, right? And look at that. That went down farther. So now let's see what it does. Boom. Nope. It does not keep on going down. It actually hit that area again. So now we got this floor right here. Okay. So this is our floor and our ceiling. And it's stuck within these areas right here. So this right here, I wouldn't count this one. This one I wouldn't count either. But these three right here definitely count, right? These three definitely count. It's like our floor. It was here. It broke down a little bit more. This could have broke down because of some news or something like that. We can go back in time and see what made this market drop like this, but then come back up. If it drops like this and comes up, that means this was a temporary move. It could have been just some bad news in the markets. A president somewhere could have spoke, or some data could have been released about unemployment. You know, we'll talk more about that, all that later. Thank you. Before we trend, there's consolidation. Thank you. Thank you. That's very important, because when you find consolidation, when you do see that the market is hitting a ceiling or a floor over and over again, for you, that's like, okay, great. That's great. Now I can wait for this breakout to happen, and then I can make a trade. So we already talked about the trend line break. Let me show you the ceiling break, or the floor break. So next time it goes above one of those lines, we would jump into a trade. So let me show you. Let's see. Okay, let me extend this out. I'm just going to keep getting longer and longer until it breaks out of one of those lines. Let's see what happens. It's probably going to come down here and hit this area. And boom, look at that. So you see that fall down like that? It went really low. So you could have made money as it went from here down to here. I'm going to show you on a candlestick. Look at that. That's a lot of money right there. That was a lot of money. So from here, as soon as it broke out here down to here, you could have made money. Let's use our info tool once again to see how many pips that would have been. From here to here would have been 17 pips. 17 pips, okay? So that could have been $17, $1,700, $17,000, okay? It depends on how much money you invested. 17 pips. But then it started coming back up. Okay. And that's when that new trend line starts to build. Okay. So you could have made money when it broke out of that floor. And now look, it's coming back up. It's about to build a new trend. Touches it again. And then, so a strategy that you can trade is like we just did here at the floor. When it broke beneath it, we traded. And also when it breaks above this area, we can trade again. So if it goes above this point, we can trade again. Let's see if it goes above. Boom, look at that. Crazy. Wow. Wow, look at that. Sorry. It went way above. Way above. Let's look at our candlesticks. Look at that. So it went from breaking down beneath to breaking above. It went above that area. And this time, this was worth 23 pips. 23 pips. Okay, so that could have been $23, 23 cents. It could have been 2,300, 23,000, $23 million. It depends, once again, how much money you invested and how many units you bought, how many lots you bought. We'll talk more about those soon, so don't get confused yet. We're not going to talk about how much money we can make and how that works just yet. I just want you to see the setups, okay? So we had this, we built this up. Remember, we started way over here and we waited for like 2 or 3 touch points, 2 or 3 circles to let us know, okay, this is definitely a ceiling. Our floor was a little bit harder. Our floor, we probably drew a little bit too early. We had a floor here at first. This was 1, 2 touch points. So this was some decent money. This was some decent money right here when it broke down. And when it does that and come back up, you got to adjust it, just like we said with the trend line. Adjust it down a little bit. So this is also one right here. I didn't count this one at first. I probably should have. This area right here, it's kind of one. Oh, look, when the candlesticks, this is why I can't wait to get the candlesticks. It's way easier to see. Look how this comes down here to this point here. So for real, on candlesticks, the circle would have been here, and then also here, and also here, and also here. It would have been a lot easier to see. On a line graph, it don't show you how far it went down. It only show you where the price closed at. So on a 15-minute time frame on a candlestick, I'm gonna show you how, and within those 15 minutes, it went down, it went up, it stretched all around, but it ended up stopping right here. It stopped right here where this candlestick body ends. So we'll talk about that soon. I don't want to confuse you just yet. So that's our strategy though. That's something that we can trade. We trade once it breaks out of these lines, these horizontal lines, okay? So just to simplify this, you can trade once the key thing is knowing, like drawing your lines, finding those points where it touches the same area over and over again. So for us, that was here, 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 and kind of here. It didn't go up as high as we wanted. On a candlestick, it did go a little bit higher, but it's okay, in that zone. And once it crosses that, even if you deleted this and said you don't want to count that, that's fine. You still had these right here. That shows you that you had a clear horizontal line, right? Another word for this right here, I want you to write this down, is resistance. 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 Resistance is when the price goes up and comes back down. The price is resisting to go above here. Resistance, okay? I call it the trap ceiling, okay? Resistance. And then down here, let me call that, make this red. And then down here, we got what we call support. This is support, AKA trap floor. So when you're in a house, when you're walking through the house, you're walking on a floor, and that floor is supporting you, okay? It's supporting you, it's not letting you fall through. That's support. So if we keep seeing that the price comes down to the support level and goes back up, we call that support, but that's the floor. If you jump up and you try to go from the first floor to the second floor and you hit your head on the ceiling, that ceiling is resisting, okay? It's resisting you to come through. So you're gonna come back down, okay? Resistance. So support and resistance, I'm gonna give you an article on that soon. These are like just fundamental concepts that you cannot forget, okay? You do not wanna forget those. They will never leave you. These are just the basics. But most people just jump in and teach you about support and resistance. That's how most people are gonna start. I didn't want to just start with that. I wanted you to start off by just knowing support is just a horizontal line that you have to draw by connecting points. Resistance is just a horizontal line that you draw by connecting points, okay? And as you see, so we made money over here waiting for the trend line to break out. I mean, for the support and resistance, the horizontal lines to be broken. And we made money as the market, remember, so then it started building a trend, and that's how you know you're good. So look at this, like this is later on, this is advanced, and you'll get into this later. But as you see, it started making a trend line inside of our trap still. So remember, we got our trap. Our trap is comprised of our floor and our ceiling. Once you got a clear floor and ceiling, what do? You draw a rectangle. This is where our basic rectangle shape come into play. So a rectangle just connects the floor and the ceiling. That's it. That's it. You just connect the floor and the ceiling. So if I go ahead, I'll make this inside like a pink or something like that so you can see it. Look at that. That was our trap right there. Our trap was literally from this rectangle from our ceiling to our floor. If you see that, type unlock. Okay. And then my strategy that I teach people is the trap house breakout. Trap house breakout. And that happens, okay? That happens when the price right here in this area breaks out of the trap. Yes. So, but you got to know how to draw the trap first. You got to be good at drawing these horizontal lines. Okay. I'm telling you, so I want you to practice on this over and over and over again, because if you can draw these traps, as soon as it breaks out, not as soon as, so it's two different ways to do the strategy. And I do want to talk about that later on, more so in high school, but we'll talk about how you can trade it as soon as it breaks out, or you can wait for some confirmations. It all depends on your risk appetite. Okay, all depends on your confidence too. Like, how strong do you think this is? Okay, so for me, this hit this so many times. 1, 2, 3, 4. It hit this area 4 times. So my confidence would have been up. I'm like, if it breaks out of this ceiling, if it goes above that point after 4 times, it couldn't make it out of this area. If it breaks out, my confidence is going to be through the roof. Okay. On top of that, look what was building. Remember, we did this. This is how we started the lesson off with these 3 circles right here. Look what was building right here. Point, point, point. Point, point, point. So here we are inside of a trap, right? I'm not going to negate the fact that we are inside of this trap. I'm not going to negate that fact. We are in the trap, but a trend line is building in that trap. So now if that trend line continues and breaks out of the trap, that's money. That's money, okay? That's the trap. That's the real trap house breakout, is that we're seeing these V's start to get created. We call these higher lows. Higher lows. Okay? And that's for later. You're going to get into these later, but I'm just giving you a sneak peek. So later, you can, when I say it again, you can be like, oh, we talked about this back in 3rd grade. Higher lows. Okay? That's what we just created. So that's that confirmation right there. It's like it broke out, but it broke out after making this trend line is being built. Okay? So it broke out, you jump in that trade right here and you ride it up. And the cool thing is it kept going up. It came down. Look, that trend line is drawn, touched it, went back above it. Look at that. Look at that. Amazing. That's a lot. So let's see now how many pips that was. This is the real breakout. Remember what I just showed y'all before? 17 pips, 23 pips. This breakout was from here, 70 pips. So this was triple either one of those other smaller breakouts. And that's because this is the patience. This is the waiting for a clear ceiling, a clear ceiling, a clear floor. This one right here was, we had 1 touch point, maybe 2, and then it broke out, but it was a short breakout. Okay. Remember, the best breakouts is when we got a lot of touch points. So this trend line was a great breakout because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's going to come down and do, let's see, a 5th one, right? 5. And then it finally broke out. So those are the best. These are the best strategies to trade, the best breakouts to trade when it touches it over and over and over again. Okay. Yeah. So that's the beautiful part. Okay. So remember, we talked about diagonal lines, which is finding these touch points. We talked about circles, which, well, first, let's talk about circles first. You know, where the circles are, where we find where we get like this little dip, right? We get this little V that gets created, or the upside down V, which I like to call an A sometime. Okay. We get those right there. And then we connect them with a horizontal, with a vertical, with a diagonal line. Okay. You connect those. So you got circles connected by diagonal lines, right? That's a trend. That's a trend. Then we also talked about how you got circles, same thing, but they're connected by horizontal lines. Okay, you can do this over and over and over again. All right, try to find those areas where they're connected. Look at this right here. Here's one. That's kind of low, so I'm not gonna count that one. Here's another one. Here's another one. So I see like about like three, about three. Look, it goes through that area. Okay, and what happens? So that's our ceiling. Okay, that's our ceiling. Do we got a floor? Yeah, we kind of got a floor too. We got like here, here. And then this one is kind of low, so I'm not going to count that because it's getting higher and higher. So I'm not going to count that. If anything, I would count this as more of a trend line. This shows you it was building up. That's more of a trend line we talked about, green. Okay, it's like green. So that's more of an upwards trend. But that's cool. We're going to talk about that later too. That's one of our shapes we're going to talk about soon, a triangle. You see this triangle starting to get built here as well. So we'll talk more about that as well. But we do got a ceiling. So if you can draw, you don't need a floor and a ceiling to do a trap house breakout. The ceiling is very clear. The floor, not so much. The floor was kind of like right here. Okay. And this is what we're going to do in the next session. We're just going to go over this again and again and again. We're going to go in the market and we're just going to keep on checking for it, trying to find traps and trend lines, just so that way you can get used to seeing it. So this is like kind of our trap right here. We got our floor. And then our ceiling keeps getting touched. And what happens? Eventually, it breaks out of that ceiling and pew. All of this right here is our breakout and goes up. Okay, and that's where you could have made your money at, right in here. Okay. And as you'll see, you'll get used to it. You'll be like, oh yeah, I should have saw that coming. I should have saw that coming, because guess what? What do I see right here? All of these are just building their way up. Look at that. They're just building their way up. So now you got this trend line that's building. So a lot of the times you're going to get a trend line build up before it even breaks out of the ceiling. This is just that confirmation right here. It's just like, oh, look, these circles are ascending. They're going up. If it breaks out of that ceiling, oh yeah, I'm jumping in this trade. Beautiful setup. Okay, so this is why I really like live and die by the trap and being able to keep my eye on the trap. Because look, there's one trap here. It's going to break out, and guess what? It's going to make a new trap. It's going to break out, and then we're going to make a new trap, and it's going to do that over and over again. It all becomes visible in the trap. Thank you, Nicole. Yes. Marcus says, so it's like wash, rinse, and repeat as long as you see the trend. Yes. Oh yeah. You could trade one strategy over and over again. You could trade just trend line breakouts, just ceiling breakouts, just floor breakouts, or all of them. And that's why I say focus on one pair at a time. If you focus on one pair, you'll be able to watch it and see like, oh, okay, here's the trap being built, or here's the trap breakout. Oh my God, it's out the trap. And now you got to wait to see when is that new trap going to be built. One thing I didn't talk about, we're going to talk about more next time, is how this ceiling right here becomes the new floor. So now we could have said, okay, this is our trap. It can come anywhere down here and up here. So it's going to play around in here. But in this situation, it didn't even play. It didn't even come back down. It trended so heavy, it just went back up. Oh, look at this. This connects too. Look at this. Boom. It kept respecting that line, even from way back here. So this line that started back on June 27th, it touched again a little bit here, touched it. I'm not going to count this one here. And this is why I say, man, this is technical analysis. It's very technical. It's like, it's almost down to a science, but it's not perfect, right? It's not perfect, which nothing is, but you'll see touched here. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Respect the trend for sure. Definitely respect the trend. And let's keep on playing in this market. Let's see if it touches that line again. Let's see what happens when next time it interacts with that line. I'm just going to extend it. I'm just going to extend it and let's just see what happens. And I know we got a lot of text on here. Okay, waiting for that green line to get touched. Let's see what, oh. Woo. It broke that trend line right there. Oh yeah, see, look, that's money. That's money. That's money right there. So yep, it finally broke the trend line right here. It finally broke that trend line. So this makes me feel we are now definitely in a seller's market, because this trend I was building for days, 3 days, 4 days, has now been broken. So that's why this market is probably going to continue to go down. And look, as we see now, it's respecting this new trend line, right? This one here. Okay. And we'll talk more about these later. We got so much to cover with this, so much to cover. We got triangles still in here. We got more squares that we got to draw. It's going to be super cool. All right. But this is grade 3.1, because we're going to continue grade 3 and make sure that we really get these rectangles down pat and these triangles down pat that we didn't cover much of, and these trend lines. Okay. I hope you guys definitely understood this. If you feel like you're getting better at understanding these charts, do me a favor and type unlock the charts below, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to unlock all of this complication that they try to put on us and make it feel like we can't do this. If you just look at this, I want you to take a picture of this chart right here, right now, right? And I want you to show it to 3 people today. And I want you to ask those people, okay? I want you to ask those people, do you know what's happening right here? Ask them, right? And then I want you to say after that, I do. And it only took me 3 lessons to be able to read this chart. Okay? 3 lessons. Seriously, I want you to do that. I want you to show this to 3 people today and watch their reactions. And then if you can, in a Slack group, let me know what kind of reactions you got back. Please, please, I'm really interested in that, because this is how a lot of us start. We look at these charts, you see somebody looking at it, you peek over somebody's shoulder like, what are you doing? I'm trading. And that's all they say, I'm trading. They don't say, I'm drawing diagonal lines. They don't say I'm drawing rectangles. They don't say I'm drawing circles in order to make money. They don't tell you that. You know, they kind of, just simplify it, but not simplify it, complicate it at the same time. And now it stays, mystified and like, what is happening here? What is this stuff? So thank you all once again. I appreciate y'all. So happy you guys are picking up this knowledge, this information. Let's keep unlocking these charts. Thank you for showing up to these sessions. Watch the replay, please. Right? We load these up for you. Watch these replays, take notes, do your own testing, and you're going to see vast amounts of improvement in a short amount of time. All right. Appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Unlock.